47 fish in 1 hour. Not over a full day, not with live sonar, not with some $300 custom rod. 1 hour. And by the time I hit fish number 20, the guys around me stopped pretending they weren't watching. By fish 30, one of them actually walked over and asked if I was in some kind of sponsored test. By fish 47, someone said it out loud. "What are you using? That's not normal." And here's the part that makes it funny. I wasn't using anything fancy. No secret prototype lure. No high-end scent from a glass bottle. No insider connection. What I was using cost less than a fast food combo meal, and I mixed it at home before I left. That day started like every other slow summer morning. Flat water, blue sky, high pressure. The kind of conditions where fish get lazy and anglers start blaming everything. Moon phase, water temp, wind direction, luck. There were maybe 12 of us sped along that stretch of shoreline. Good anglers too. I recognized a few faces from local tournaments. Expensive setups everywhere. Rod racks that looked like they belonged in a pro shop. And nobody was catching anything. I hooked my first fish 7 minutes in. Second one came 2 casts later. By the 15-minute mark, I had 6 bass in the net. Now, I'll be honest, even I thought it was a fluke at first. Sometimes you just hit the right pocket. Sometimes a school moves through, but it didn't stop. Every few casts, another hit. Not soft taps, not those half-hearted nibbles where they mouth the bait and let go. These were aggressive, committed strikes. The kind where the rod loads up and you don't even have to wonder if it's a fish. At 20 fish, the guy to my left changed lures 3 times. At 25, the guy on my right started casting closer to where I was throwing. At 30, someone said, "That's got to be live bait." It wasn't. Here's what made the difference. Before I ever made my first cast, I treated my bait with something most anglers overlook because it's too simple to take seriously. And that's exactly why it works. See, fish don't think like we do. They don't care how realistic your lure looks under sunlight. They don't read brand names. They don't know what's trending on YouTube. They hunt using chemical signals. Their entire body is built to detect subtle changes in the water. Salt levels, amino acids, trace compounds. Things we can't see or smell above the surface. What I did was amplify those signals. Not by pouring some overpriced liquid scent on my bait that washes off in 5 minutes, but by creating something that stayed active in the water, cast after cast. It starts with regular table salt, not sea salt, not Himalayan pink, just basic iodized table salt. And then garlic powder. That's it. Now, before you roll your eyes, hear me out. Salt does something most anglers don't realize. In water, it creates a localized concentration shift. Fish are extremely sensitive to that. When they detect higher salt concentration in their environment, it signals something biological. Food, bodily fluids from prey, movement. Garlic, once wet, releases compounds that spread quickly through water, not in a straight line, in a cloud, a drifting scent trail that expands outward and keeps working long after your bait hits bottom. I mixed 3 tablespoons of salt with 2 tablespoons of garlic powder in a small container the night before. That morning, every soft plastic I tied on got coated. Not lightly dusted, coated. But here's the part that most people mess up, and I learned this the hard way. After you coat the bait, you don't cast immediately, you let it sit. About 2 minutes. Those 2 minutes allow moisture from the bait to partially dissolve the salt on the surface. That creates a supercharged layer that activates instantly when it hits the water. If you cast too fast, Half of it falls off dry. If you wait, it bonds. That bonding period is the difference between kind of works and why is everyone staring at me? And that morning, it was the second one. The fish weren't just biting. They were tracking the bait down. You could feel it. Sometimes, I'd let it sit still and just watch the line twitch before I even moved it. By the 40-minute mark, I had stopped counting out loud because I didn't want to make it worse for the guys around me. One older angler walked up and said quietly, "You mind telling me what scent that is?" I opened the container. He looked at it. Salt and garlic. He blinked twice and said, "That's it?" "That's it. And here's the thing that hit me hardest that day. It wasn't that this trick was new. It was that it was old. This isn't some modern hack. Commercial fishermen were using variations of this decades ago, before scent companies figured out they could bottle synthetic versions and sell them at a premium. Salt preserves. Garlic attracts. Together, they stimulate. And fish don't evolve fast enough to ignore biology. By the time I landed fish number 47, the bite slowed down naturally like it always does when a feeding window closes. But in that 1 hour, I outcaught the entire shoreline combined. Same water, same weather, same species. The only difference was preparation. And that's when I realized something most anglers don't want to admit. We overcomplicate fishing because companies make money when we believe we need more. More gear, more sense, more technology. But sometimes, it's about understanding what actually triggers a response. And once you understand that, everything changes. Now here's where it gets interesting. After that day, I didn't just keep using the salt and garlic mix the same way. I started experimenting. Different conditions, different species, different types of bait. Because one lucky morning doesn't prove anything. Consistency does. First thing I tested was hard baits, crankbaits, jerkbaits, lipless. Stuff that obviously can't be rolled in powder the same way soft plastics can. Here's what I learned. Take that same salt and garlic mix and add just enough vegetable oil or fish oil to turn it into a thick paste. Not runny, not dripping, thick. Then smear it lightly into the seams of the lure, around the hook hangers, and especially into the grooves around the treble hook bases. Don't cake it on, just enough to sit in those small crevices. The oil holds the scent in place. Water flow activates it gradually. Instead of washing off, it bleeds out slowly with every retrieve. I tested it side by side with a buddy using the same crankbait straight out of the box. Same color, same depth, same retrieve speed. He caught 4 in 2 hours. I caught 19. That's not hype. That's a difference you feel. Now let's talk about muddy water. When visibility drops, fish rely even more on scent and vibration. That's when I double the garlic in the mix. Same salt ratio, just more garlic powder. The stronger scent cloud helps fish locate the bait when they can't see it clearly. I've pulled bass out of water that looked like chocolate milk using that variation. Cold water is different. Fish get sluggish. They don't want to chase. That's when I add just a pinch, and I mean a pinch, of cayenne pepper to the mix. Not enough to overwhelm it, just enough to create a slight irritant response. Cold water fish need a reason to react. That little extra kick often turns follows into bites. I've watched it happen on forward-facing sonar. They'll nose up to it, hesitate, then commit. Live bait works too, but you have to be careful. If you dump too much powder on minnows or night crawlers, you'll stress them out and kill the action. Just a light dusting in the container. Let the bait carry the scent naturally. Movement plus salt plus garlic is hard for predators to ignore. catfish? Add a tablespoon of brown sugar. That combination hits their taste receptors hard. Salt, garlic, sweet. It creates a layered profile that stays in the water column longer. For saltwater species, I swap out half the table salt for monosodium glutamate. Sounds fancy, but it's cheap and easy to find. It enhances the savory signature fish associated with prey. Redfish and speckled trout respond aggressively to it. And here's something nobody talks about. This mixture doesn't degrade like bottled attractants. Commercial scents break down with heat and sunlight. After a few months in your tackle bag, they're weaker than when you bought them. Salt and garlic? They don't lose effectiveness sitting on a shelf. Keep it dry. Keep it sealed. It lasts all season. I've been using the same batch for months. Still works exactly the same. Now, let's address the cheating comments. Was I cheating that day? No, I wasn't breaking rules. I wasn't snagging fish. I wasn't using live sonar or hidden electronics. I just understood what triggers a feeding response. But here's why some tournament anglers get uncomfortable. When fishing becomes about sponsorships and branded products, anything that levels the playing field feels threatening. If a guy with a $50 combo and a kitchen mix can outfish someone with thousands in gear, that shakes the narrative. Fishing doesn't have to be complicated, it has to be intentional. Once I started using this consistently, my slow days dropped dramatically. Not every trip turns into a 47 fish hour. That was a perfect feeding window. But even on tough days, I get more bites. More bites mean more opportunities. More opportunities mean more fish in the boat. And the best part? You're not dependent on a specific brand, or a specific store, or waiting for the newest scent to drop. You make it once. You understand why it works. You adjust it based on conditions. And you go fishing. Next time you're on the water and nothing's happening, don't immediately start swapping lures every 5 minutes. Instead, amplify what you're already throwing. Enhance the signal. Make it easier for fish to find you. Because that's what this trick really does. It doesn't magically create fish. It makes your bait impossible to ignore when they're nearby. And that morning when I hit 47 in 1 hour, the only thing different was that invisible signal spreading through the water before anyone else even realized it was there. If you try this, don't overthink it. Keep it simple. 3 tablespoons salt, 2 tablespoons garlic powder. Let it sit. Give it 2 minutes before casting. Then pay attention, not just to how many fish you catch, but to how differently they strike. You'll notice it. If this helped you, hit subscribe. I share stuff that actually works, not whatever's trending that week. And if you try this on your next trip, drop a comment and tell me how it went. I read them. See you on the water.